Okay, this is going to be a bit of an ad hoc video. I'm even probably going to be moving the camera into position actually during the video as well. I'll be using the iPad and the computer this time around. So yeah, I'll just boot everything up. Very quick. It looks like my iPad needs a bit of a charge, but that's okay because we're only going to be using the iPad minimally. Most of this is going to be on the computer, and it's going to be using Illustrator to Character Animator. And this is going to be fairly full on. It's fairly easy to rig a character. Once the layers are in place, it's fairly easy to rig it. It's not a big deal. It's a bit of a performance art, to be honest. You set everything up and then you perform it. So looking at the model that we have now, of course we had two models down here. These models have now come into the center and they all overlap each other. If you open this up, I'll show you what I mean by this. When it looks like I've only got one head and one body, this is not true. If you open it up, we've got the frontal head, right quarter, left quarter. And if we open the body, frontal, left turn, right turn. And as you can see, if I actually select this, we have a lot of lines going on here showing what's been selected just by tapping on that layer. Because of course, within the body layer, if you go into frontal, you've then got right leg, left leg, right arm, and so on. You go into one of those arms, you've got all the bits and pieces of that particular piece of the model. So right leg has the thigh, the calf section, even little bits like, for instance, the shoe is made of two pieces, so that's in there too. We've got the foot, and so on. And this is effectively a part. You know, the Character Animator sees that as a part, but they must be separated. There is some leeway when making this, but ultimately this is the structure to be using. Now, probably need to neaten this model up a bit. I can actually see little slithers of things going on right here, for instance. If I was to just zoom that up, you can see it's going on there. We're going to do this also ad hoc, on the go, get things done. Unfortunately, last night I was called away to look after my baby daughter. So that obviously disrupted the flow of things a little bit, not to worry. We'll just get into full swing here. Now I can see, of course, that I'm missing some of the correct labeling that's going on here. Not to worry, we've got the heads, it's all intact. Got the ear at the top. I don't think that'll cause a problem, but if it does become a problem, I'll just move the ear down to a lower level. But of course, the eyebrows need a plus at the beginning of them. I'm going to do this on the computer. It can be a bit quicker to type on a computer rather than an iPad. Because obviously you've got the virtual keyboard. That's just not like having a proper keyboard. But everything seems to be intact. That eye does seem to be a little bit different to other eyes. I'll have a closer look at that. Not to worry. Yeah, of course, one of the most detailed head to frontal to actual detailed parts of the body would be the mouth. So this is probably the most layered version, because you got your top tier. I've called him Ted. This puppet, by the way. I'm sure that name's going to change for sure. But yeah, it's Ted. Then we drop down into head. Then we drop down into frontal. Then we drop down into mouth. And once we're in mouth, we have all the different mouth types. And that's probably one of the most intense layering, apart from possibly the eyes, that we go down in this process. So I'll just close it up again. There we go, Ted, entirely selected. Look at all those lines. If you switch over to nodes, there's so many nodes there, it actually took a while to even show them. But look at all those nodes and control anchors. A lot going on there. Okay, so that's all cool. We'll come out of this file. This file has been saved to the cloud under Sam's folder. It's called Untitled 48. Let's give it a different name. Okay, it's opening again. I think what I should have done there is tapped on this and actually tapped on rename. So we're going to call this man V, capital V, as in version 1. So every time we make an adjustment that's radical, we're going to change that to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. If we change the model fundamentally and it becomes a different model, it then becomes man version 2. So we're using software methodology to actually label these to keep up to date and understand where we're at. So yeah, we've got version 1 here. I did call this one woman final, but I have actually used that method also in the later file on that too, but the later file is actually on the computer already. So this is all done. We don't need the iPad at this point. The main drawing with the pencil, that bit's over. Now it's organization. So, without further ado, we'll close that up. Put that to the side. And we're going to bring the computer in. Just take it off the charger because it actually restricts what I can do. Right, there was a brief stop in the video there. You possibly didn't notice it. That's just simply because I realised the orientation of the camera was actually in portrait mode. And with that, I need to make an edit to that file to make it possible to use it in a proper orientation. Right, I think that's probably the best we're going to be able to get this. Actually, I really want the camera to be a little bit further away, so this is what I'm going to do. You can't see this, but I'm actually adjusting my tripod to get the right angle. Let's see, how much room do we need? I believe it's valuable while I'm doing this process to let people actually see kind of behind the scenes. So this is what this is, kind of. It's basically just allowing you to see a bit more of what I've used, what I've done to put, not just to put the puppet together, but to actually stage these videos. It's all been a bit ad hoc. This system, I would generally want to use something a little bit, okay, it's not particularly stable, is it? I remember why now. I didn't want to do it this way. Right, how are we gonna sort this out? Need to do this quick start, so even more ad hoc here. I'm actually going to weigh down the tripod on one side by wrapping another thing around it to give it more weight. Okay, I think that's enough weight now. Yes, okay. Right, okay. Bit crazy what I'm doing here. Let's get that into field of view, turn it down. Right, you can see more on my screen because, well, it was clipping a lot before. There we go. The colour balance is nice as well now. It looks like the actual screen that I'm using on the laptop is a warmer temperature than the iPad. iPads are known for being calibrated on an accurate colour spectrum, whereas you'll probably find a lot of computers tend to favour warm colouring because it makes things look more vibrant, and in contrast it means more appealing as well. It's a bit of a workaround, to be honest. If you have a really nice display, it speaks for itself, but you know, there's not many perfectly calibrated displays out there particularly. Right, so I think I'm going to use the woman as a reference point. So straight away, these quarters, the head bits, they all have pluses at the beginning of them. So that's what we need here as well. So just close it up, make it easier to view. We don't need to change the name, we just need that plus at the beginning. So that's that. At least I don't think we need to change the name. So you can do these kinds of things automatically, and you can do them manually as well. Character Animator does allow a great deal of editing to be possible. Now these shouldn't really need pluses, they just need rigidity and anchor points. Let's see if I remember all this off the top of my head, because not really referencing anything straight away. Was there any other pluses that are needed straight away? Let's just have a look. As you can see, these are the two top level layers that I had for the characters being over here. But since then, the head and the body has been separated, and the heads have gone into the head folder, as it were, head layer, and the body has gone into the body layers. This can only be done in Illustrator. You cannot do it in Vectornator. If you do it in Vectornator, it'll just fall apart and we'll have all kinds of issues, and it'll just be a waste of time, really. I can see that I've made these two invisible. I can't remember if that's an absolute requirement. I will check into that. It's probably best to start labeling all these as well. Right, okay, in regards to any further pluses within, we of course want the eyebrows to move independently. Doesn't look like the mouth really cares. But I'll tell you what, instead of looking at that one, I know I've done a better job with the frontal side of things. So it looks like right, okay, so what I did here, for instance, I actually split the hair into two bits. We've got that bit, and as you can see, some bits have been left behind. That's the other bit right there. Now the reason I did this is because I wanted these strands of hair here to actually work independently. That allowed me to have them move around a little bit. So that's the reason I did it there. The guy, we don't really have, we only have one piece of hair going on there, but it might be an idea at a later stage to maybe have like a little Superman curl and have that flap around a bit, or at least have some movement in this hair going on. That'll provide us with a more interesting puppet to use. As you can see just in the corner there, My cat's just passed by, he's going over here now. And right, okay. Anyway, it looks like I've only really got the eyebrows sorted for this one. I'll just stick with that for now. I'll just pop the eyebrows in with a plus as well. This is going to be edited, like I say, on the fly. So every time something doesn't work, I'm going to pop back in here and I'm going to adjust it. Hopefully though, most of the work has been done and my tired mind has not forgotten to do certain things. But we'll see. We need the head open. Apparently these were not visible. These are the bits. They will be visible to Character Animator though. This is why this kind of stuff needs to be done in Adobe products, because they understand each other better. I've not made anything invisible in the layers of the body. Nope, it just knows that those are the other body bits. Okay. Now I don't like working from the cloud. This means I'm working from the cloud, this little bit here. I don't really like doing that. So the first thing I'm going to do is save as, save on computer, and just pop it on the desktop. I have actually made a little bit of an adjustment, so I'm going to put 0.1 for this one, man version 1.1. And I'm going to save to my desktop with maximum compatibility. So that cloud's now gone. I have actually got a file that I'm working with on my computer. Now I haven't got Character Animator open. In fact, what I've got here is Now TV. So that's just what I've been watching. I think I will shut that app actually. That's just the browser. Nothing to worry about that. So yeah, I've been watching a bit of The Flash. You know, when I've got a bit of spare time. Not often. So we need Character Animator. Let's boot that up. There we go. Hello, Character Animator. We do seem to be... Okay, is the microphone not working? Okay, we're going to fix this. And I'll show you how we're going to fix it. But we're going to do this after doing the male model, because the male model is actually an easier prospect. It's easier to do. So what we need here is we need to import a puppet. So import. It was man version 1.1, wasn't it? Which is right there. So that's loaded in. There he is. Now we're going to give him his own timeline. Scene rather. New scene. And we'll call it, let's call it Testing Man. Right. So we grab this puppet and we drop him into the scene. There we go. He's a bit small for some reason. Let's zoom him in. 200%. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe a bit more. Can I have a little bit more? Next step up is 400. Oh, there we go. We've got a way of doing it manually. Okay, he does seem to be speaking. And for some reason his head's, you know, something. I think I know why that's happening. We have no blink layer, do we? Can you see how when I close my eye, it's crushing the head? Now, Character Animator is really kind of intelligent, so it's actually working with the information that I'm giving it right now and trying to work out how to use that best. You could do with changing the camera over. But there is definitely an issue with the fact that that is interesting. Hee hee hee. Whoa, mama. Are we getting audio? No, it's running off the video. I'm not sure why it's running off the video, but I can see that we have all of the other layers actually visible at the moment. So I'm going to make that not the case. There's frontal. So we're now just going to make these go away. Now, if I save this, okay, it's saved, and I go back into here, as you can see, the extras have moved away. Now, I did think that was it trying to wink, but I'm not sure anymore. Let me see. This might be an aberration because the model, I think, is incomplete by the looks of things. Let's just have a look. It's moving the whole head. The face is down here. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to have to sort out my camera though. Now, as you can see, it's moving in and out. That's not a good thing to be, and we can do that, which is also not good. So what we need to do is we need to go into the man model, the rig. We need to find the legs. So look, so legs. I think I'm looking in the head. I don't know why I'm looking in the head for legs, but we'll try that again. Okay, so we've got a right leg. We should best select it. It shows it in blue, the leg, and what its parent is, which is the body as a whole. Now, this leg needs to stop jumping around. So the first thing to do is just grab one of these. This is a pin at the bottom, and we just go pin, and then, yeah, that was the right leg. Go over to the left leg, drop a pin in there. Now the likelihood is, without selecting the layer, it's going to guess what I'm trying to pin. However, it's not worthwhile leaving it to the software. It's best to actually do it yourself. Now because we've done that, if we go into the man layer now, he will not, no matter what we do, have his legs flying up in the air. And that's a very good thing. Now, we're having trouble with my camera, a lot of trouble. So I'm just going to pass this around. I'm going to try and use my external camera. Oh, hope that didn't change anything on the screen there. There we go. Okay. Right, the other camera's plugged in. However, I don't believe it's set up to take the feed from there. Still working on this. This is a bit overly technical, if you ask me. I do miss my days of using a Mac in this regard. Because when you try to use something, it would always invariably work a lot quicker than it does on the PC. Now, from what I remember changing the camera, you need to go into a camera app. This seems a bit OTT. I think, yeah, it's already switched it over to that. So that's good. If we go back to here, it's still using that camera. Although we are getting audio levels, so you can see he's actually speaking now properly. That's because this camera's also got a microphone in it. I'm not sure why it automatically doesn't go to having a video feed. I'm wondering if it's something to do with this application. It's not live output, it's live input. So this is actually got hardware. Camera-based muting. Device and detection. Let's take that up a notch. It's an interesting setting. Okay. There's got to be a way of making it default. Frame and grade photos, time-lapse video quality, flicker reduction. Okay. Okay. I think it's worth working this out, just simply because it will give us a much better feed. The camera that I have on my laptop is not very good at all. Plus as well, the camera I'm using to record this is getting in the way of using it properly. If I have to, I will continue to use it like this, but it's certainly not a preference. Right, I can't see a particular way to make that work, so I think it's best we just start using this. Now, I wonder if it's because of my hair. The strange thing is, those eyebrows should be independent. And they're not. Something wrong with the head. He's moving quite well. Right, I'm going to just start dropping things in, getting him functioning. So if I remember rightly, if we go back to rig mode, we're missing behaviors from here. Or is it here? There, that's that one that we're missing. So we need the limb IK. We also need head and body turner. And just putting those in will likely have made it possible for us to turn. Oh, where does the body disappear there? All kinds of little glitches that go on. This might also be to do with my camera. So this is a bit ad hoc. as I was saying before, but we can get him to turn. Let's just have a look at this body, because it's clearly affecting the left turn. Is there something? What's happening here? So I seem to have an extra folder, which is unnecessary. That's probably the problem. So if we just go back over here and just try and understand why I've even got that. It looks like just an oversight. It seems to be called left quarter, whereas this should be left quarter. So if we just grab these and we move it up a level, the action cannot complete because the source or destination layer is locked or hidden. Oh, it's hidden. That made me panic a little bit. I didn't know what it was saying. It's not hidden anymore. There we go. So that folder just disappeared the moment I did that, because obviously there was nothing left in it. We'll change this to quarter to keep with our labeling conventions. Then we go back over here, we save, that's done. Back over to Character Animator, back into the actual thing. Now, as you can see, you can turn him. He's moving around a bit. We don't want him to move around a bit. This could very well be happening because we don't have a blink layer in. Unfortunately, I haven't got a blink layer to drop in at this moment in time. So that's something we're going to have to work on. Oh, I thought I could do that. Never mind. Let's just zoom him in a little bit more. Okay, maybe zoom it out a little bit. We don't need the timeline. Let's make him bigger. Don't need the timeline yet anyway. The timeline's used in a very different manner to a video timeline. I'll explain that on a different video. Now, as you can see, we've got the same kind of bendy situation going on as what we did with the woman. This is because we haven't marked out the puppet properly. So if we go to rig, and I prefer the graphical one, but we're not on that at the moment. So, just having a quick think. If we click on this tool here, just remembering what we did. Let's see. The idea here is this tool, you would select a particular part, let's say the right leg. You would take its origin, because this is not its origin, it doesn't reside in the knee. Its origin is up at the top where it connects to the other parts, such as the the hip. Now, as you can see, you've got waist here, you've got right hip, left hip, and so on running down. Now, you need a node like this on the model. So we've got this leg selected, we've got this handle tool call it a handle tool, selected as well, we basically need to go through this model and match it up to that. So we obviously need one at the knee. We need one at the ankle. We need one at the back of the foot here, and one at the front of the foot. If we go over to the other leg, we're going to do the selection right now. Change over to the selection tool if you want, and we can select that and make it correspond to that. Select that, make it correspond to that. Select this, make it correspond to that. And select this, make it correspond to that. Now I think we're missing one here actually, because the origin can't be used in this capacity to be like this. So you can do it at the moment you've actually put it down. In fact, oops. As you can see, we've got a lot of behaviours going on here. It's showing the graphical interface. You can also do this in text form as well. The origin of this leg is in the wrong position again. You'd almost imagine it could estimate this beforehand, but apparently not. So if we just pop these all in, there's the knee. These are adjustable, so even if you get it wrong, you can go back to it anyway and do something about it. Pop that in there, and then we've got the heel, of course, and the front. That's probably put a bit of rigidity in it already. I won't be surprised. So if we want to have a look at it. Oh. Actually, it's done the exact opposite to put rigidity into it. There's something weird going on with these legs. Very weird, in fact. But if we go back to the rig, what you can also do, in fact, what you have to do, it's not simply what you can do, is you need to draw, in a sense, bones into the model. So if you put a bone there, and you put a bone there, then you switch over to the left leg, and you put a bone there, you know, just basically where you'd find bones. So shin, thigh, not called bones, of course, they're called stick tool. Now we've added those in, and truthfully that's what's going to create rigidity in the model. So now as you can see, the knees are bending because the knees, and they would generally allow you to walk. This model definitely needs a work on it. We need all these bits that are missing. That blink needs to be there to stop all this happening. But we're ignoring that for the meantime. Okay. Now we've got rigidity in the legs, and obviously it's the bending, because what we have in the rig mode is we have the behavior of walk in here. So it's trying to make those legs walk, or it's looking to make them walk. But yeah, we've got the rigidity. This top end is still swaying. We need more rigidity there. So we need to continue this process. I don't think I put the waist in. I'll put the waist in there. Let's complete all this. So we need one for the neck. I'll try doing it without actually selecting the layers, just to see what happens. No, actually, we're not going to do that. It's probably okay around the neck area, but in this area, but I'm not convinced with the arms. The arms do need to be selected. And what we need is, we need the shoulder in place. And there we go, you can see the origin. I was wondering where that was. I'm not sure why I couldn't see it straight away. Okay. Okay, it allows you to select while still being in the tool. Now that's the wrist that we've got there. Because hand movement is way too complicated to be doing on a model like this. So that's all good. We need the shoulder to be in place again. Elbow. And wrist. And as before, we've got no rigidity in this. So chances are if I left it like that, it'll start bending all over the place again. Tell you what, let's have a look. Okay, the arms do definitely move less. Right, this is the reason why we want to have a bit on the neck as well. If we look here, there's a crack occurring on the neck. So that needs to be adjusted to stop that from happening. So basically, instead of what it is at the moment, which if I turn the head off, at the moment, the head comes to the neck and the neck only comes up to the head. We need a ball section here to sit behind to stop those cracks from happening. So that needs to be worked on. Go over to this. That blinking thing's surprising me a lot. Right, okay. Now I made the arms draggable on the other puppets, but ultimately we are going into body tracking with the camera. That will be done instead, and then we'll use any kind of dragging capability or key presses to actually refine the model rather than to be how the model works. This blink's stressing me out a bit. You shouldn't be doing that at all. It's been weird going on with the foot as well. It seems to think I'm bending before I'm bending. Obviously a lot of this has to do with my camera as well, so don't worry too much. But we need to go back to the rig, because what we did with the legs, we haven't done with the arms. So we need to add some bones into the arms as well. Again, to create rigidity. The reason for this is you only want things bending at these joint areas. If you don't have these, what happens is that whole arm, even this bit, bends. So you want that to stay straight and all the bend to be in the joint areas instead. That's what you're doing here by doing this. Much like what a human body would do if it didn't have any bones. There we go. Probably should have selected the layers. Never mind. Let's see how intelligent Character Animator actually is. And we'll stick the origin up here. Need to select the other arm so I can actually see the origin. Oh dear. Okay, try selection. Okay, so we've got multiple options that we can do here, of course. I did want to move the origin, but for some reason I can't see it. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't see it before then though. That's a bit weird. Okay, so origin up here again. It's what it is. It says it is. You know, it's where it's coming from. So this is like the thing that tells you where the arm joins the rest of the body. So you know, it's fairly critical to have that. Now the thing is, okay, so that's actually visible. I wonder if that changes things if I do it and change that. There's a lot of things to fix with this model. There's no denying that. Okay. So you can see it's trying to move things, but looking at it candidly, the feet are not working. They really need to be pointing in the same direction because they become this weird bendy kind of construct. I think given the fact that the model's bending all over the place as well, I'm just going to do this. Just select the torso, and I'm going to pin him just above the waist, just for now. That may change, but I don't want him moving around like that. Right. So we've got the rigidity going on. I'm ducking below the camera, remember? So this is why we're getting these weird kind of issues with the model. There's another reason to have the head a little bit bigger actually, because it helps with the whole process. It looks neater and tidier for the cartoon kind of methodology we're using. Let's see, what shall I do next? Okay. We've got the neck sorted out. These are all working as far as I know. In fact, let's have a look at the head. Let's see if they're all synced up. So if we click on this, what should happen is when I click on a file, it should highlight that down here. That's the eyebrows. Is that the hair? That's the hair, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. I think we'll just name that, because I would prefer it not to be untitled. And in fact, I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to call this ear. Yeah, we'll just put both ears in the same folder for now. It's not a folder, it's a layer, sub-layer of a layer. Okay, that's what I should be saying. Okay, hair's out, face, nose is collected in. Okay, save that. Go back over. That loads immediately in. As you can see, it's now called ears. Okay, so we've got turns going on. There's a bit of rigidity going on there, but the model is not looking neat really. It's jumping around, and of course we've got that squinting thing going on. And it seems to actually be majority happening because this area here, got the camera coming out here, and the camera recording is just above it. In fact, you can see it, it's right there. So that's actually affecting the way this is working. I really desperately need to get this other camera working on the side. I'm just working on this like this for now, just to show the development of this character. Right, this character definitely needs a lot of development. Okay, so back into rig. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so it's got 10 there. I'm going to actually delete that because it clearly is showing that I've put it into that layer. And the torso that has the pin, I also want it to have the waist node. I'm just going to look at this right arm. Yeah, so it's saying, it's thinking that I've done nothing at all with the left arm. It's all been done with the right arm. So as you can see, that's doing it incorrectly. So we'll just get rid of all this, because it is in effect in the wrong place. As I predicted, the software is actually compensating to some degree, but you don't want it doing that continuously over everything. I'll pop that there. That's the shoulder. Got the elbow back in place. And the wrist. And don't forget, of course, the bones. There we go. Critical part in any living being, even the ones with exoskeletons. Yeah. Okay, that must be the underwear in the garment. Now this process needs to be continued, but it strikes me that we should optimize the model before I go any further, because if we don't do that, we're going to end up with a lot of this worked on stuff being on the wrong graphic maybe in the long run, and we need quite a lot to be done to the man, it would seem, to make it work as efficiently as for instance the woman. So at this stage, I think what I'm going to do is just going to have one last look at the man in his present guise. Of course, he's still trying to do that blinky thing. You can get him to move. Yep, you can definitely get him to move. Bit awkward. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to go into the woman and do the woman's. Oh, yeah, that camera's no good, is it? Go into the rig of that. Oh. Okay, you can only have one thing in the rig at a time. I think we're using this woman. Maybe not. Oh no, we're using final 1.1. That's what we're using. Okay. So going into this, let's see if we've okay. So in regards to this, what we need to do is separate things out. I want to know which. Okay, so that's all that clothing. Right, I would say that this model needs to be worked on as well. I was going to jump straight in and put the nodes in to correspond to here, make it move, and put the rigidity in. But there is one thing holding this particular model back, and I will get that sorted out. The clothing is all this. Now originally I was going to use a sequence where it would gradually move the feet along step by step, and you press one of the keys on the keyboard and that would make that happen. However, seeing as we have body tracking now, we can actually do the movement of the legs. The only thing holding it back is if I did it right now, these legs apparently don't have feet. Where are the legs? Oh, right, okay, so I split it into that. So yeah, basically this leg here needs to be connected with a clothing section above it, so that when you put the nodes in, the clothing will actually stretch and move as required for the walk movement. I've already worked out how to do this. We're going to have a piece of fabric behind that presents the stationary sort of part of the fabric, and then these bits need to lift and move with the leg. So we're going to have to connect those up. Basically, I'm confident that's easy to do, but if I was to actually put the nodes in on this model right now, it's not going to work, because these layers are going to change so much in their order that it won't work the same way. So the only reason that these models aren't walking anyway, including the man's easier because his legs are available to move independently like this, and there's no fabric over the top of it. But the reason this guy can't walk at the moment is because my camera can't see me walking, because it's going to be an acting thing. It's going to see what's going on in the camera and show that here, so we can get him to move side to side. We can't get his legs to move, and of course the arms are going to be moving as well in a similar fashion. But we need to fix all these bits and pieces before we do that, otherwise it's not going to look right anyway, even if I fix it up. But this is how this will be done. Yeah, we need to get technical with all this stuff. We need to get it fixed before we go any further. Tell you what though, if I select makes it a bit difficult working around the camera as well. So we've got frontal. I don't care about the head at the moment. I'm looking for the left arm. And if we select all these bits, actually, we couldn't just make that draggable. So we have various options here to make use of once it's rigged. If you go into the man now, what you should find is you can drag it. It's, it's not independent though, it seems to be sticking. Seems I've forgotten some stuff here, because in this model, oh, I've broken that as well, have I? Yeah, I'm going to have to look back into how I did that, but I basically made the arms draggable before. these models need some work. There's no denying it. It shouldn't be done on video because it'll be an intensive piece of work. It needs concentration and no camera obstructing my view when I'm doing it. By no means are they no good. You know, these are usable. I just confused about why that's stuck there. It shouldn't be. Tell you what, if we go into the rig, if I make let's make that independent, just temporarily. There we go. It's because it wasn't independent. So basically, whenever something drags the rest of the model, it's because it's not independent, basically. And what I did there is I put a little crown by it. Now, crowns can be automatically done with these pluses at the front of layers. That makes them independent as well. But I wanted to do it instantly to make it work. You can do the same with the legs, you know. So say I take the left leg, make that independent. Shouldn't really need to make it independent once the live walking comes into play. Oh, I've got no draggable thing. I made it independent, but I didn't make it draggable. Let's try that again. So there's the leg. It's best to drag it from the point that you want to remove. So I've just made that fixed for some reason, make it draggable instead. Go back into this. Probably shouldn't have done it this way. Anyway, we won't be following this route either way because it's not viable. We want to use the actual motion capture. So we'll just stop that from being draggable. We'll stop it from being independent as well. So first things first, fix the neck. Blinking, then we're going to run down the model, making it function better. These feet need to be going in one direction. It's tempting to have a forward facing one and a sideward facing one because it looks good and still imagery. But the problem with that is once you go into animation, that's not still imagery. So it's okay to have a pose struck, but it's not viable for actually making it walk and do other things like that. Yeah, I'll run through this bit by bit, fixing all the bits and pieces, but some of it does need to be redrawn. I'll sign off for now and talk to you soon.